welcome to Squad, your favorite source for everything esports and gaming. I'm Camille, here to protect you from all the Game of Thrones spoilers. And if you want to spoil, well, watch out, because Camco's here to protect the people. Here's what's going down tonight. We have AJ and Marissa going head-to-head in Unmuted, giving us their takes on everything we can't stop talking about. Then in Esports at 30, Pyrotechnics is stopping by to talk League. But before we get to that, we gotta go fast and check out the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, and see what we think in Trailers on Trial.
Elbows. Hey, yo. Elbows. Hey, yo.
I didn't grow up with Sonic, so this isn't like a big nostalgic thing for me.
Buckle up for this ride.
This is just the Sonic trailer, right? Yeah.
Sonic.
I'm really nervous.
You can tell I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. See how joyous I am?
Oh, that's cute. Okay, the rings are really smart. That's a cute one.
Okay, that's fun with the rings. That's cute. That's real cute.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay.
Why this song?
Does he have electrical powers now?
I'm not feeling the texture. Makes me uncomfortable of his
Energy
fur.
surge knocked down power across the entire Pacific Northwest. This needs someone who can figure out exactly what we're dealing with. You're not suggesting who I think you're suggesting.
We have no choice.
What the?
Jim Carrey.
And Stash?
Oh God.
That's going to be the only redeeming factor.
In a sequentially ranked hierarchy based on level of critical importance, the disparity between us is too vast to quantify. Agent Stone?
The doctor thinks you're basic.
Listen,
This
pal.
movie's basic.
I'm sorry, Major. What was
Basic idea of a video game movie and what it should be.
SFPD! Meow?
Ah! The teeth!
Okay, pal, I want answers.
Basically, it looks like I'm gonna have to save your planet.
So he's an alien? Sonic's an alien?
Oh, is that all you?
Why?
No, but thank you for asking.
Ooh, so Jim Carrey's the villain in this one. He's looking pretty good.
Whatever this creature is, our job is to secure it, neutralize it, see what makes it tick.
Why is he electric?
Producers of Fast and the Furious. It's just like, oh, this thing goes fast. Let's get these guys.
Which producers do we want on this? Yeah, the ones who did the movies about cars, because that makes sense.
Look at this! I took 9 million steps today.
This is so bad.
Stay in there.
How much longer? I can't breathe in here.
Do you have your child in that bag?
No. I mean, yes, it's a child, but it's not mine.
It's not your child.
Smells like body spray in an old ham sandwich.
Okay, that one was good. One good joke. That's going to be the only good one the whole movie, I bet. Okay. They've done 2 good things so far. But I'm still going to go end myself. Goodbye.
That's the Eggman we want. Like, what? Why did they show whatever Jim Carrey was supposed to be? Plus, like, Sonic the Hedgehog's an alien?
Okay, that was not as bad as what everyone has been saying.
Like, I'll watch the movie to find out how they progress Jim Carrey from having a full head of hair to no hair at all, and then maybe to see if he gets chubs, because, like, you gotta get chubs, for sure, to play that part. That was frightening, and I'm just left with so many questions, mainly the first one being, why Gangster's Paradise?
I don't like this. I was holding out for the movie, and now after seeing this, I'm sorry. No. No.
I need a drink. Gaming and esports, hot topics, hot tweets, and the spiciest memes. I'm Marissa Roberto.
And I'm AJ Fry. Producer Tyler has 2 minutes on the board and topics at the bottom of your screen for us, and one of us may get out of line, so the other will hit this button right here, which can activate, well, I guess deactivate our microphones.
That's right.
So we
it
are
shuts
muted.
us up.
Shouldn't the show be called Muted, not Unmuted?
You know what, Tyler? This is your fault. It's all your fault, Tyler. Listen, of course, we love it when chat calls us out, so don't be shy. We can take it. Let's get to our first one here. We're going to kick off our top story with an update to a story that we talked about last week. Last week, it was actually reported that employees at Riot Games would be staging a walkout this week because of the company's response to its sexual harassment and discrimination claims. Riot released a 90-day timetable on its diversity and inclusion initiatives and said that it will stop enforcing arbitration on new employees. However, no mention was made of changing senior leadership's attitude, which has been cited as being one of the main factors behind Riot's poor culture. So, AJ, Lisa and I discussed this last week. I also discussed it with Brody. So I need to ask you, do you feel like Riot's doing the right thing now? And maybe should Riot be doing more?
Well, they are starting to do some of the right things, but yeah, if you've got a problem with your leadership setting the tone, the tone needs to be set very differently. And I mean, this isn't just exclusive to Riot. This is a problem that prevails throughout the entire gaming culture. It's certainly worse in certain sectors than it is in others, but you know, it's amazing coming to a place like Squad here where it's a whole bunch of amazing women behind the scenes, holding it down, working super hard, And there's none of this toxic masculinity that you see so much in the game space in other places here, and that's why I keep coming back. It's a great place to work that reminds me so much of the other professional places that I've had the opportunity to work in my career. So it's, yeah, hopefully, you know, the boys of the gaming culture can get their heads out of their behinds and start making things a little bit nicer for our women friends.
Women for sure. I mean, listen, it definitely is a two-way street. We can't, like, I feel like I shouldn't get away with certain things that I say either because I'm a woman, so technically I kind of get away with them.
You know,
even
we're also entertainers, and we try to make things light and make jokes sometimes, and then you can go like, oh yeah, that joke I made, yeah, maybe that was off color, that was, you know, not necessarily espousing the most right morals or ethics, what have you. If it's all about ethics and gaming, then we've got to set a high bar.
That's a thing too, and we also, you know, it's just kind of this insidious culture that we live in, especially if you just even look in Twitch chat some of the times, right? Like there's just a lot of derogatory comments made, a lot of racism that happens too. We need to clean up everywhere. It's not just with Riot, but I'm happy that certain steps are being taken. It's unfortunate, that maybe the older gentlemen that are still there, seemingly that's what everyone's having a problem with. I know that they went to...
You called them older gentlemen.
Older gentlemen.
They don't sound like they are.
That's the thing, because I don't know them, right? I don't know them, we don't know them, we don't know exactly what it's like there. This is all just speculation based off of the reports that have been coming out. So I just really hope for a healthier environment for all of them. Women of course, but yes, also men too. It is a two-way street. We just respect each other.
Add report buttons to your games. Can't you put a report button in your
inside your company?
Community? In your company, something. All right, moving on. Complexity Gaming unveiled a brand new look over the weekend, courtesy of a massive rebrand gone as the red and white swirl. Say hello to a navy blue star. The Texas-based esports org has shifted its look to be more in line with the NFL team, the Dallas Cowboys, as both teams are owned by Jerry Jones. So the question
Jerry
is...
Jerry Jones, another seedy character.
Oh, I don't know
anything
anything about
little
Jerry
report
Jones.
coming out on Jerry Jones. No, you know how they always find these like, you know, it's like drama. It's like Dallas. It's like, you know, finding out their other relationships, and they're going to like special massage parlors, and like, there are things.
But he can
there
still
are things
own
out there.
things.
You can still own things. That's the thing. When you're rich, you get away with a lot of stuff. That's been proven over and over and over again. So yes, to your question, which had nothing to do with anything.
Did I even finish getting it out there?
Yeah, no, not really. I do want to talk about this because I do like that the sports teams and the owners of these sports teams are now implementing these. Well, I guess it's very similar to the Dallas Stars
It's got
logo.
an arrow in it, though, and that's...
Yeah, sorry, to the Cowboys logo.
That's it. Esports. Esports have arrows. They lead you to the points that you have to capture.
Oh, yeah, it is a little... There's a little arrow in there.
Yeah.
A little arrowhead. A little Call of Duty-esque. Listen, I like these. I like it a lot. I feel like they all should tie in with the sports teams because that's how we're going to get outsiders into esports. This is how we legitimize esports. It's just about getting the... Listen, sports, yes, I get it. It's a separate thing, but it's still important that everybody puts respect on esports. You can only put respect on it when you attach it to things that already have that respect. You feel?
That's not true. You can't only put respect on it when you attach it to other things. You
No,
can
it's just, it
generate your
helps.
own. It helps. I'll agree with you there.
Okay.
I don't gotta mute you over this just yet, Marissa. But
okay, fine, fair enough.
Hold
But
ground on their own.
you don't like this. You don't like sports teams attaching their logos.
I don't care enough to like it or dislike it. I just don't think that it's got to be the way to do it all the time. I think if you want to have some brand synergy, sure, that looks cool enough.
But don't you think it'll maybe help sports fans to come on board and maybe watch a game or two?
If there was an esports team attached to the Toronto Maple Leafs, you should not at all go anywhere near the Maple Leafs branding for these things because Maple Leafs branding is just like related to a team that fails every year.
My God, AJ.
And the Blue Jays since what, like the 90s?
That's a quiet time for AJ now. Amateur tournament platform Super League Gaming announced that it was partnering with Capcom to create a brand new league for Street Fighter V called the Street Fighter League Super Gaming League. Will host competitions in cities throughout North America that anyone can enter. The league will not be open to professional players as it's meant to foster competition at a grassroots level. So, AJ, I don't even know if you're unmuted yet, so I might just answer this for you. Do you think this kind of initiative focusing on amateurs can actually help grow Street Fighter, or do you think maybe it's a waste of time? You actually are officially unmuted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Certainly, this isn't a waste of time. This is a good thing. Why not? You know, grow your community, grow your fan base. The interesting thing, though, is that this is not being open to pros. Is like, what makes that marker? Is it the moment when someone pays you to play a game? Is it when you've got a sponsorship? Is it when you win a tournament that you're considered a pro? Like, what is that official, you know, pole that people have to climb over to make it? Because, like, if you enter this and you win it one year, can you go back the next year and enter it again, or are you disqualified because now you're a pro? You've won the tournament. These are the questions we need answers for. Rabble.
Yeah, that's interesting because I do know a lot of Street Fighter players in Toronto that are very good and have played in tournaments, but haven't yet had an org sponsor them. So are they professionals yet if they don't have an org backing, right? Like, have they been legitimized yet without that? It's like, you know, on their social platforms. Are you legitimate if you have a check mark? I don't know. But other people have check marks that shouldn't be legitimate. I'm just a little salty.
I would like to see more of this. I remember going to LAN parties with my buddies, and there's this weird divide in the player base of, like, we were, my friend and I, usually third place at these tournaments, but the second place and first place guys were so much better than us. It was like no competition. We were able to, like, edge out the other players, but
so it would have been better for you if there was a tournament like this, where no pros are allowed. Like,
but that's the thing. You're still going to get some players who are just infinitely better.
So is this like a ranking thing in game? Can you sort that out somehow?
Yeah,
like,
maybe they gotta make it. If you've got between this skill level and this skill level, I don't know how it works in Street Fighter. It's not a game that I play regularly.
I do want these scenes to grow, of course. But the thing is, with Street Fighter and with anything FGC, it has always been extremely grassroots. Any tournament as well, like, it comes from grassroots. So it's good that they're cultivating more people and encouraging more people to come and play. But you still need the pros there to get bank. You still need the pros there to get eyeballs.
It's got to be exciting. You can't have a couple of total noobs just crouching in the corners blocking the whole time. Moving on to our last story, which I promise is not a joke.
Oh.
This is real now. Gaming peripheral company Razer is making a toaster. The toaster is black and green and will print the company's logo on your bread, which will become toast. Strangely, this was originally announced as part of an April Fool's joke a few years back, but apparently fan reception was so overwhelmingly positive, they ran with the idea and made it real. People even got tattoos of the toaster to show their passion for it.
Ooh.
So now we have a Razer toaster. Should other gaming peripheral companies expand beyond gaming products to make these little household appliances? What do you think, Marissa?
Oh my God, what is wrong with you people? Like, straight up, what the F is wrong with you people? Why would you get a tattoo of a toaster on your body with the Razer symbol? Like, what, is the company
people
paying
get all kinds
you?
Of stooppid tattoos.
No, this is on you forever. This is on you forever.
Yeah,
don't do this to
for
yourself.
The lulz.
No, I get it. Like, even our friend of the show, Brock McLaughlin, just tattoos whatever on his body. Like, he's got a Harambe tattoo on his shoulder that he got obviously when Harambe was hot. Harambe's not hot anymore, okay? Like, rest in peace, Harambe.
Harambe
but, like,
will always
would
be
you
hot,
need
Marissa.
No,
don't
you don't need
besmirch
to have
Harambe's memory.
No, that's what I'm saying. This is like hot right now. It's funny right now, but it's not gonna be funny forever. Why are you guys doing this to yourselves? You crazy? Oh my God.
Are you planning on getting a golf blitz tattoo after this?
Oh yeah, I'm really into golf blitz right now, you guys. I will not be getting a tattoo though because I know it's just hot for the moment. Like, I'm into it for the moment.
Right.
I know better than that. You guys, we get over things.
But
we get over things.
Why have we derailed into tattoos?
I'm sorry, because you said that some people. Okay, fine. AJ, will you be purchasing this toaster and will you?
No, I'm not a Razer guy. I'm a Logitech guy. Logitech,
oh my God.
Watching. Let me know.
So you'll get a Logitech toaster and then a Logitech tattoo?
I don't know.
Yes, sell out.
I'd get like a Logitech, I don't know, shower head or like, I don't know, if they had like a really cool...
Things you can't Instagram.
Yeah. I don't know, like a dishwasher or some Logitech laundry that...
Oh my God, this quickly derailed into like a dad stream. Welcome dads everywhere. And Tyler's really paying attention now.
Laundry.
Figure
it out, Logitech. Get your head in the game. If Razer's going to toasters, you gotta dodge and go a different direction.
Oh my God.
New Logitech baby monitors. I don't know.
There probably is that.
Maybe.
There probably are all these things Logitech. These are just normal appliances I think LG
Game of
actually
5,
makes.
looking after your baby.
Okay, this is not been sponsored by Logitech, but please, we've derailed from Razer to LG.
Moving
just
on.
for AJ.
Time to see what streamers are up to in Clip It. Our first one comes to us from Greek, who came across a spicy video. Decided to check it out while live on stream. Here's what happened.
What's this? What the is this?
You got debated.
You mother!
I love that. That's a new
Yeah.
Rickroll. Baited. I love that.
I gotta find that video and use that for all my future Rickrolls. I like
I'm
it better.
sure I got Rickrolled one time.
Just once, Marissa.
Just once.
Wow.
And it was like, but it was like so clickbaity. I forget what the title was.
Were you streaming while
but
this
it-
happened, or was this a private
No, it wasn't
moment?
streaming, unfortunately. But it was like just legs. It looked like just girls' legs, right? So I got totally clickbaited with the girls' legs, classic. But like you click on it, and then it just starts panning up on the girls' legs, but then it's just a Barbie doll, and then the Rickroll starts playing.
Ah.
It was good. It was really good.
That's not as bad
I
as
felt it.
what I imagined could possibly have been there when you pan up
Oh,
on what you
no.
assume to be a woman's legs
Yeah, I was hoping for something more.
in a video. Anyway, I've got an active imagination.
Share, AJ.
Nope, I'm done.
All right, this past weekend at the CWL London, Luminosity Gaming won by decision in a controversial match against FaZe. And let's just say fans weren't happy, and neither was Reciprocity player Tommy.
Finally, what would you like to say to this crowd?
I'd just like to say, I've got one question and one question only. What do we think of LG? What do we think of... Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tommy, for those wise words. For now, I'm going to hand you off to Clint and Joe to get this match started.
All right, thank you, Jess. Thank you, Tommy.
Okay, yeah, that was such a hype weekend of Call of Duty. But is the crowd's chance directed at the right people, do you think? Or whose fault is it? Speaking of LG, but this is Luminosity Gaming. So it was LG's fault or the officials? Because, listen, Tommy took to the crowd to chant the other team, okay?
Yeah.
It's just like, it was kind of drums. There was an issue in game, and then the people deciding the actual game decided to give it to LG when it wasn't LG. It wasn't LG's fault that this happened in game, okay? And it wasn't their fault, you guys. You're assaulting them when it wasn't their fault. Like, just let them have the win. Who cares? Whatever. It's not even like they won. You feel?
But they did in the score ultimately,
Yeah,
right?
okay,
So
well-
they get the win.
Yeah, all right. But
I don't
still,
know.
the crowd was, I feel like it was misdirected hate.
That is so often the case when, in the
There's
world
chance.
of gaming. The assault gets misdirected in certain circumstances. I think we gotta watch. I mean, like, chanting and audience involvement, it's great to see it in esports
sure.
now.
Love
It's
it.
wonderful that we're getting so passionate and involved. Just there was also like assault being directed at Overwatch with a different chant over the weekend as
yes.
well.
I do want to keep it to Call of Duty, though, just
Yes.
a little bit. But I also want to bring us on in to the best time of day where we scroll the Twitters to bring you all the things that pros bless us with on their timeline. This weekend, as we said, was absolute fire in the world of esports. Both CSGO and Call of Duty Worlds were popping off. So much so that the crowd in London decided to salt on CS just a wee bit. Okay, so CSGO caster Henry G saw this clip and he says, "That's quite cute." Yeah, and Spongy replies, "Almost as cute as their joysticks."
Oh, burn on the Call of Duty crowd right there.
I know.
Yeah.
It is a burn. But burn for good reason.
Well-
But I know you side with, I feel like you side with the PC world.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
But
What?
except not in this instance because Counter-Strike started it all. Because it was
Did
the
they?
CS crowd who were chanting at Overwatch
Yeah.
using some profanity, which I dare not repeat.
Yes,
And
that's
besmirch the good name of us here on Unmuted. So this
Yeah,
is
they
just
do
things
it.
coming full circle.
Yeah, they do start it because if we're being fair, CSGO is the superior in many of our minds esport. It is very good, very entertaining to watch, and it's been around for so long, and they have crowds everywhere, they have tournaments everywhere, they have fans everywhere. Like, they are very much deserving very much deserving of a league the way Overwatch has it, of city-based teams the way Overwatch now has it. They're very much deserving of all of this.
So when are they going to get their
Technically
acts
before
together
Overwatch.
and start doing that?
Yeah, see, I mean, you're right. Blizzard took the right action here, and they've gone the right path. Unfortunately, Valve is very hands-off with their game.
Valve should be more hands-on and get their act together and get things going, and maybe add some elements to CSGO that make it even, at a higher level of gameplay like Overwatch.
Whoa.
This next tweet is from League of Legends. I guess we can call him a personality. Locodoco, with something decent to tweet for once. Esports is such a fad, and then we see a whole bunch of esports paraphernalia there.
Yeah, esports merch at a sports apparel store. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
To see that, it's just strange to see Renegades with so much shelf space. Like Renegades over other FaZe isn't there.
Right. Optic there.
Optic, Cloud9 was there. Yeah. Just weird to see Renegades had like a whole shelf to itself. I mean, like good for them. That's amazing. But it's nice to see that there's a little room now. They're pushing their way in.
I'm worried for folks like wearing this stuff, going to sports bars, just knowing like the mentality of your traditional sports fans at times when they see like the new kids on the block,
Oh, sure.
Drinking after their games and instigating.
But a lot of people into sports only really know other sports teams, right? They'll see a jersey like Renegades or like Cloud9 and just not know what the F it is. So there may be nothing said. They might just think it's their like soccer team or something. Yeah, right? Maybe. They'll just make assumptions. They won't salt on them just yet. Not until esports officially takes over. But
it's only a couple of years away, right?
It's coming, everybody. Yep. Strap in. Our last profound thought comes from King Baby Bay on Instagram. He'd like y'all to tag a friend who needs these.
Ooh.
Yikes. I'd like to tag Baby Bay for letting that thumbnail go a little long before posting that photo featuring his hands. Baby Bay. You know how I feel about that. Men, manicure yourselves. Honestly, cut them nails short. I don't want to see that. That's me ranting on that.
That's fine. Yeah. I don't know what to say about condoms for small
penises. Yeah. You don't comment?
Yeah, especially because this is like the end of this segment.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to move on with. Maybe you just pick up and throw.
Okay, he really doesn't want to comment on micro peepees. That's okay. Let's move on because it's time to get into crowd control. This is where we showcase some of the great things the community has been sharing. Now, Mortal Kombat is known for its overdramatic violence, but just how far from reality is it? I did a thing on YouTube, tried to find out whether Scorpion's chains actually had the ability to cut through flesh. This is a bad idea.
And now it's nice and hot. Let's see what a 1,000-degree chain does to a pork roast. A little juicy slow-mo. And look at that. The chain did manage to easily cut through the meat.
How am I both hungry and grossed out at once?
That was so gross. That was effing disgusting. Okay, first of all, because pork meat, can I say pork meat is like very much like human flesh?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, that's gross. That's like almost turned me off of pork almost, but I still like my prosciutto. Do you feel?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Okay, so what is your experience with Mortal Kombat? You've been loving it.
Oh, I mean, a Mortal Kombat fan for life, for sure. One of my earliest introductions into gaming. Yeah, absolutely. This new game is crazy, gory, and everything.
I know, but so many people are having issues, taking issue, because the women aren't as sexy as the other Mortal Kombat games. They're not wearing, less clothing. They should be wearing less clothing, especially Scarlet. She has too many clothes on.
Right.
Has been the consensus.
It impedes her abilities to do all the combos and everything, wearing those clothes.
Just getting in the way. They want more titty. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, it's time for a woke comic of the day made by Martin Rosner. Let's have a quick look. Gamers, rise up! What are we mad about? Politics and gaming. Game difficulty. We're going to demand better and more secure working conditions for game developers. And it's gone. as the crowd does not support this. And this is something that obviously we need to get behind more. If we're going to be upset about ethics in gaming journalism, we need to be protecting our game developers. It's not just the people at the top of the company. It's all the grunts who put in the hours making the maps, you know, adding the textures, developing the skins, and all the in-game art and sound effects. There's so many people who work behind the scenes, especially at our AAA companies.
Oh my gosh,
and they do these terrible crunch weeks just to get things out there for us to enjoy. And they need to be protected and given opportunity to, you know, have a good work-life balance.
I completely agree with you. It's just so crazy to me because I feel like you and I have been covering video games for a long time.
20s, you're just fresh out of, you know, college or university, and that's the way you want to do your life. You know, be proud of that effort. Great, but you know, when you're getting to our age.
No, we don't need to talk about our age, okay? We don't need to discuss that publicly at all. But no, somebody DM'd me this weekend is like, is it cool if I ask your age? And I literally just responded, no.
Yeah.
And get out of my DMs. My DMs are open for business, people. Business, not for you to ask me stupid questions. All right.
I'm 55. I don't mind putting that out there.
What did you say? Did you say you're 85?
I'm 55.
I'm 50 years old. Okay, AJ's 85. I'm the younger one in this relationship. Time to wrap it up with our last crowd control post. There are a lot of wacky games out there, and I mean a lot. But have you heard of the arcade favorite based on table flipping?
What?
I love that. I feel like that's very, you know, of our time.
Yes.
Because even in Twitch chat, it's like the table flip emote. You can spam some of those right now if you'd like.
Please do.
Please do.
I gotta go to Japan for these things. There's just so many fun arcade game experiences that you can't have over here because they always come out there first.
So what would you make? Like, what would be a game that you would create that hasn't been made yet, but is very catered to AJ's taste?
Ooh, I don't know, like scotch drinking or...
I think that... Well, because there's that VR game where you get to be a bartender, and I definitely enjoyed that. That was fun. But no, actually drinking.
Yeah.
Okay, but like in a bar.
The problem with that, though, is the experience would be over very quickly, and you wouldn't remember much of it.
That's
afterwards.
real. Yeah. Or like when it teaches you things, like we can become somms, like become sommeliers, and it teaches you things about different wines. No, is that getting too refined?
Educational games?
Yeah, but like in a bar about alcohol.
That's it for Unmuted. Remember that you can always hit us up on our socials or to just say hi or send us stuff to react to. Someone type !and socials, !socials right now in chat. That's it. See you in the future.
Don't pay 600 coins
That's
for
a
that.
bad analogy because
you know, you're
Groundhog Day is repeating over and over again.
Yeah, but every story to you is like, oh my god, I got a story. Oh, so this weekend I was with Grace and my ass. Oh no, it was too big. Oh, it's horrible. That's my story.
What did you do Friday night?
Well, I went
waking up on the wrong side of the bed apparently.
Hey, whoa, that's this morning, okay? Get it right. No, I went...
And late, too.
Dude, just throw more shit.
You gotta throw me under the bus there. So I woke up late, okay? I stay back late all the time.
All about Trigger Kid.
Dang it, Tyler!
No, you do stay.
Also, that was a great alley-oop into dunk by me and Tyler.
You know what? Coming to think about it, I think the green room is the perfect place to drop Marissa's Nona emote. It's just so intimidating, and it may intimidate Stream Dad Tyler to stop telling us one of his long stories. I don't know, it may work, but with your help, maybe we could stop him from boring us to death. But remember, to do that, you have to be subscribed, so if you can, hit that button and show us some love. In a bit, Matt and AJ are talking to Pyrotechnics all about MSI and Esports in 30, but first, let me get you caught up on everything that you need to know in Reported. Over the weekend, Epic Games unleashed a one-time event in Fortnite a week before Season 9 kicks off. Called the Invaulting, the event saw the vault beneath Loot Lake open. The event created 6 columns that each had a discontinued item from Fortnite's past embedded in it. Players could attack each column to vote for it, and the column that suffered the most damage across all servers would break open, bringing that item back into the game. In the end, the column that won contained the drum gun. The drum gun was infamous for being able to destroy walls very easily, and it was originally vaulted to give defensive building a chance. Unfortunately, not all players were able to experience the event due to glitches. As a result, Epic gifted every player a free glider as an apology. I can only hope that when Season 9 starts, the launch will go much more smoothly than this. Overwatch Contenders Europe is officially way more angry than it was before, but that's not a bad thing. German-based contenders team Angry Titans is the official 2019 Season 1 champions after defeating the British Hurricane 4-1. The victory marks the end of Angry Titans' streak of second-place losses, as they placed second in both 2018 Season 2 and Season 3. For fans who are looking forward to seeing the two teams compete again, they won't have to wait long. Both Angry Titans and British Hurricane will play in the Overwatch Contenders Atlantic Showdown in Krefeld, Germany from May 31st to June 2nd. The tournament will see the best European, North American, and South American contenders teams battle it out. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. The Rambo era of Cloud9's CSGO has come to an end. The NA Esports org announced that it would be dropping Rambo as its head coach just 4 months after he originally joined the team. Replacing him is Valance, who formerly coached Cloud9 before becoming its head of data science. Originally, Cloud9's temporary head coach, Rambo, took the job permanently in March, but the team has not played well since. In April, it placed 6th at Blast Pro Series Miami and 3rd in ESL Pro League Season 9 Group C. By comparison, Valance led the team to victory at the E-League Boston Major in 2018 and made multiple finals in other events. Valance stepped down from the head coach role last December, but looking at how C9 has performed since then, it's clear that his return will likely change things for the better.
Black shield available. He has a lot of sustain. He can just keep auto-attacking. No one else is there to follow. Big Core still alive. Health bar incredibly low. Zeros on the back line is going to be massive. The body slam forward. The double kill and the ace. For a career-defining moment. PBB take down Fenerbahce and will move on to the bracket stage. Whole team healing up as they push forward. The Shroud comes in as well. Jen's going to lead forward. They're going to try to take down all double ups as well. Zeros is ulting, but none of the members he needs to hit. They've gotten gold, and the Cosmic Radiance is everything that they needed. Big Koro knockback. Double continue to clean up. Him and Jensen running through the enemy team. TL dominate PvP on home soil, and they will qualify for the MSI main stage.
Welcome to Esports in 30. I'm AJ Fry. This is Matt Hemstad, and in today's show we are talking all about the mid-season invitational. It's League of Legends. Normally here for Overwatch League, but Matt, the plans are nearly finished. There's only one spot left in the main stage to fight for. So what have we seen thus far from MSI?
Well, the beauty of MSI is that, you know, it's one of these international tournaments where we don't see a lot of these teams for most of the year because they're too busy covering, you know, Korea, China, North America, Europe. So now all of a sudden we get to see the best teams from regions across the world, from Vietnam, from Russia, from Brazil, and we get to see what they have to offer. And so far they've brought some really creative stuff. I mean, we've seen Karthus in the bot lane, we've seen Heimerdinger in the bot lane. So it's been a joy to watch, and obviously it gives these some of the top players in other regions a chance to shine. And then, you know, who knows? If you shine hard enough, you might get a chance to come aboard a major region. So it's always fun to watch. And now we're getting close to the good stuff too, where we actually get to see like SKT against Invictus Gaming. So it's been pretty hype so far, and it's only going to get better.
The big games are coming up, but first let's a little recap of some of the best plays of the MSI play-in group stage.
This is what I want to say actually hooks on. Oh, that hook! How did that happen? The world end of Pomp at the Resurrection. Gonna have to try and buy time to click on the lantern, but he can't see it. Oddie is gonna follow it. There's the flag and drag out. Now Nor forced a real flash away, but he does get the sleep down. The bottom lane rotates in, and that's Big Koro with the first blood, as the next blood is gonna come in pretty swiftly as Slow does get slow, but Big Koro over the wall instantly as Fong Fu Buffalo spring to life.
Would you rather have 3 Infernals? Yes.
Oh.
Pala engages, there's just too much. The quickness came out and Rogue wasn't able to devour his AD carry in time. Ryoma's on his way down though, Pala eaten up, gonna be spat out straight into the waiting arms of the LeBlanc. Featherstorm from Big Koro, ignited. Slicing Maelstrom's gonna rip it through the backline, double stun lands. Ryoma takes down Zeros, and now he can continue to jump forward. The true shot barrage from FBI, the triple kill for Ryoma. He's looking for the Quadra.
No, in the mid lane with the rest of PvP on the retreat. The sidestep not going to connect. Wall is going to get hit. Kire immediately looking for the delete there. One kill getting taken down. He's going to get two. Big Koro. Oh, Kire, can they take him out? The lockup is there. Which Koro now needs to get out. The Black Shield available. He has a lot of sustain. He can just keep auto-attacking. No one else is there to follow. Big Koro's still alive. Health bar incredibly low. Zeros on the back line is going to be massive. The body slam forward. The double kill and the ace. And in a moment, a career-defining moment, PBB take down Fenerbahce and will move on to the bracket stage. Shinny gonna look to land the Prey Secret Ball with the ulti, but it might not even be necessary. The sidestep though, beautiful from Zeros, the flash, gets a bit of damage down, uses the ulti. Zeros still alive, goes under himself, makes it out, I can't believe it!
Curious how they're gonna set up their lane assignments and if they're going to move on
Requiem, this could be enough. Mills just gets taken out, that was great combination. Vega forced back, Lucy still solo, and Anasik just passes well. The taunt comes out though from Gang, Uniform jumps onto the backline, top side though. Void Rush comes in from an Anasik and already two members of Destination Proximity are down. Uniform chased out by Boss, it's a wipe! They are clean aced Evie, there's nowhere for him to go, he's stampeded over, and Vega Squadron will top Group B.
Steel is here ready with his ulti, but it might be a little too late. Good ult there from Evie. TP enough from Detonation Focus. Maybe into the Lamb Spite. Activated just early enough. Morgana with the ulti, I think. But after the Drowsy, there's the first bundle for Aurelia. He's going to get the double kill and maybe make it all three as Vega find it in the 2v3. Actually, two up here. Steel and Gang ready for the Baron. Maybe going to get stolen. Oh, they tried to get it down, but another stick able to grab the Baron. Now the team fights up, but the Lamb Spite only helps Vega Squadron, who finds the kills and they're just gifted over to them. They got to go. Saras tries to find the ulti. Lamb Spite going to try and reset the rest of this fight. Evie looking for it, but again, Vega, there's too much left to try and play with. Nomad unstoppable, just finding pick after pick after pick. And Vega going to surge into the base and clean up all the kills they can. A double kill there for the jungler. Make it three as he grabs the triple off of Unipon. And it's only Saras left to defend, and open nexus as Vega Squadron will fly undefeated towards the knockout stage.
Yep, there was no shortage of incredible plays there from some of the top international teams. And to help us sift through all of the drama from MSI, we've got Devin Pyrotechnics Young joining us. How's it going, Pyra?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just got back from a little bit of traveling. Nice to be back home. Get to relax a little bit.
Relaxing with us, answering all kinds of tough questions about League of Legends.
Exactly.
That's how I relax. Come on, I've cast League for 4 years, guys. That's how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump right into Group A because this was the stacked group from the MSI play-ins. It had a lot of tough teams like Fangvu, like Fenerbahce, like Bombers. So how was the Vietnamese team of Fangvu Buffalo able to come out on top with all these tough competitions from around the world?
So this is what a lot of analysts like to call the group of death, right? You have a lot of really strong teams that are facing off against one another, and it's hard to see who's going to get out, but Fangvu were the favorites. They not only are returning with the same roster that I saw, I believe, at Worlds last year, but they also kind of had a home field advantage in a way. Like, they didn't have to travel, you know, they have the benefit of having like a kind of a home crowd behind them there in Vietnam. Honestly, Fangvu are just a very like lightning fast, aggressive team. They're really strong, and that tends to work when you have a lot of these like smaller regions facing off against one another, especially when they don't get the benefit of having the ability to practice easily against some of these other stronger regions. Like, proximity is important. If you're a team that operates out of Asia, you can much more easily scrim against the likes of the Chinese teams, the Korean teams, things like that, whereas you don't really get the same benefit if you're, say, coming out of maybe the LCL, like Vega Squadron over in the other group, or Bombers in the OPL. Like, Australia is very far away. The ping is very difficult to play up against some of the teams. I guess you're a little closer to Asia, but still not ideal.
Well, Fenerbahce, they were unable to come out of this stacked group after losing to Fangvu in a tiebreaker. How does Fenerbahce take the next step on the international level?
I think this was really tough. Fenerbahce, like if it weren't for Fangvu Buffalo, Fenerbahce would have been the favorites in this group. Yeah. And the reason is because they've kind of always shown up. Like, the TCL have really been a strong, like, smaller region, like emerging region, wildcard region, whatever you want to call it, for a number of years now. And Fenerbahce have been specifically the team that's represented them for a while. It's a strong lineup of players. I don't really think they need to go back to the drawing board and change anything. It's just maybe hope you have a slightly easier group to get out of next time around. They'll obviously learn from the losses, but I don't think they need to make any major changes in their play style or their roster. They're a very strong team overall.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those situations where it looks like they were the second best team in that play-in tournament, but the group stage just kind of did, the random draw doesn't always work out in your favor sometimes, so it's definitely unlucky. But I mean, Turkey's one of those regions where they picked up a lot of talent from other regions in the past. I mean, we've seen guys from Korea go over there, like Snowflower, like GBM. Do you think that's kind of helped the development of the TCL along the past couple of years?
Well, it's certainly helped Fenerbahce because Ruin is, I think, their best player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, like anytime you have a region like that where you have a lot of players, not just coming in from Korea, for instance, but also even from Europe. We see the likes of Bolulu, Hades on that roster, Kire, who played in Challenger in Europe for a long time, kind of always on the edge of the LCS and now the LEC. I think we see a lot of kind of talent mixing there, and you get an interesting sort of thing develop where you see people bringing a lot of like what their own style is into that region and leveling it up as a result. So yeah, I definitely think it's certainly helped the region. I don't know if it's the kind of thing that will keep happening, as some of those players that get noticed might get better offers back in their home regions, et cetera, et cetera. But for the time being, it's certainly helped them get better.
Well, let's switch to another region now. The team that you're probably most familiar with is Bombers from OPL. Heading into the play-in stage, what were your expectations from this squad, and what made them so dominant in the OPL?
Let me ask for clarification. Are you wanting heart expectations or head expectations?
Give us both.
There you go.
Okay. So my heart was like, all right, these guys are going to take a couple of games and maybe they can eke something out. But nah, realistically, it was going to be so difficult. This was the best team in the OPL by far. Bombers dropped 2 games over the course of the regular split, and those were both to Chiefs Esports Club, who they actually didn't have to face in the finals. They just completely swept Order in the grand finals. And it's honestly the best team that the OPL sent to an international tournament in a while, and that was what gave a lot of OCE fans a lot of hope. Me coming in and casting that region for the first time, I didn't have a lot of that history context, but I spent a lot of time talking to the other casters and seeing what the expectations were from the fans. And I think if they hadn't been drawn into this group, if they'd been in Group B, for instance, I would have absolutely given them a decent chance, maybe like a 60-40, 70-30 chance of making it out of that group. But unfortunately, like with Fangbu Buffalo and Fenerbahce in there, and even Asurus Gaming, I think those were all really, really tough challenges for the Bombers. They took one game against Fangbu. I'll take it. That's fine. That's great. But yeah, they couldn't get a whole lot else done because they just got a little outclassed. And this is what happens when you are in such an isolated region. You don't get that much chance at international competition. And when it comes down to it, it's not even like a playstyle thing. It's not even a meta thing. I think they just got pound for pound beaten. Also, when you have a team that smashes the region, like it's tough to really learn a little bit from that, right? Like only a couple of losses to Chiefs, who were probably in my mind the second best team, but just kind of stumbled in the semifinals up against Order. And you don't really get a chance to reflect on a lot of mistakes because you don't make any mistakes. Balkan, for instance, the jungler who is recently left the team, he was the rookie of the split. He had come from Korea with no competitive experience. He was just smashing people with like heaps of jungle picks. This guy had like an absolute champion Ocean, Mimic up in the top lane, can play like a really mean Kennen. They can do all sorts of stuff like that and make plays. Everybody on the team is a playmaker, but they hadn't been challenged all split. So it's not that surprising to me to see them, kind of get smashed a couple of times. They did have a couple of recoveries, but just not enough to get going. But yeah, my expectations were maybe win a couple of games, so I think they lived up to it at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, the OPL is always one of the regions that seems to have a ton of hype, but again, the isolated results, you never know what to expect on an international stage. But let's jump over to Group B because, I mean, as you mentioned, there were a lot of powerful teams in A, but in Group B, Vega Squadron showed a lot of dominance. I mean, they were undefeated until the final game of the group. So how did this team from the CIS run away with it?
It's kind of hard to say, to be honest. They definitely weren't the team that I expected to, but the CIS region has produced some solid talent. I mean, you look back at the Gambit squad and a lot of the people that are still on that roster, and you got to think this is not an easy region to compete in, but this was a fresh face, right? You have a lot of players that aren't really well known. I didn't catch a lot of these games live, but looking at the rosters that they locked in, the champions that they utilized, and even in the match they went off again today against the Flash Wolves, they had some really, really interesting compositions that I think teams found hard to deal with. You look at specifically Gadget in the bot lane. This guy plays Nico, this guy plays Karth this bot, he plays Heimerdinger. Like, you don't prepare for those types of things. And when you are in a situation where you have a lot of uncertainty in this group because you don't really know who the powerful teams are, and they're all coming from smaller, very distinct regions across the world from one another, not likely to face off against each other, you can't really prepare for a lot of those. Like, people call it cheese, but that's kind of a misnomer because it really is just like creativity that's unique to the region. So I think that's a big part of why Vegas Squadron was able to smash their group, is they just had a really interesting set of champions. They had a good play style that worked out. They had carries in just about every role, which means that if somebody falters, somebody else can step up to the plate. And, you know, notwithstanding their loss to Mega at the end, they were already locked. They already knew it. I feel like maybe they were trying to style and just fell down hard. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see a team that's very creative like that make it all the way through.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about those crazy picks, because anytime you see something like Karthus in the bot lane, it's just, what is happening, right? So it's like, do you think that it was just cheese, or against higher tier teams will this stuff still work? Because even in the Flash Wolf series, you saw that he pulled out Varus and it didn't work that way. So is he just not great at playing standard, or do they just, you know, being creative and catch other teams off guard?
I think it's less in the meta when it comes down to those like big, stronger teams, and more like in the execution. Because if a team knows that you're going to try to go for like something crazy like the Heimerdinger or the Karthus or whatever, they're going to ban it away from you. Right. They're just going to take that out of the equation, and then unless your entire team can do stuff like that, then you're forced to play in standard. And at the end of the day, you do have to execute at the level that's equal to or better than those other teams. And Flash Wolves, even though they've had a lot of changes to their roster, that's a team with a high pedigree. They still play very fast. They still play very aggressive. And if you can't keep up with that, as we saw earlier today, you're going to get beat.
Well, Detonation Focus Me, I should say, another creative team. They were looking strong, but did not prevail. So what can they build on moving forward, knowing that they were so close?
Well, you know, with Detonation Focus Me, it's kind of like the arc that keeps happening over and over again, but this time it's a little bit better. You see this team representing the LJL, representing Japan every year at international events, and they always get built up, and then they kind of fall down after a little while, but this is probably one of their best showings so far. They still had a number of good wins. Yes, it wasn't enough to make them out of the group, but I think they can take the results and build on them and just say, all right, well, our fundamental approach to the game was not wrong. We got outclassed by a couple of teams, a few unfortunate results. They can go back to the drawing board and really look at that. I don't think, you know, similar to the Fenerbahce situation, I don't think they need to change a ton. You know, I talk about this on the podcast that I do with a couple of my friends, Chase Wassenaar and Alex Wielden, or Mad Magical as he's known in the casting community, and we kind of liken it to an anime storyline. Like, they get beat, they're going to come back stronger next year, they're not going to give up, and I really do think that Detonation Focus Me has that kind of drive, that kind of determination to do it again. So, you know, look for them at Worlds play-ins. I wouldn't be too surprised to see an improved performance.
All right. Well, we've covered the group stage. It's time to move on to the bracket stage, and before we chat about that, let's see if Fangvu Buffalo or a Vegas Squadron advance to the main stage against some stiffer competition.
Not able to get anything. Jensen unable to connect on the ult. Null still alive. Double kill coming in for Big Koro. He's popping up the back line. That's going to be a triple. He's looking for a little bit more, but Big Koro will go down. Jensen finding the kill. Null, though, on cleanup duty. Core JJ, the last man standing, the ace for Fangvu Buffalo. The stun comes in. The stolen Sejuani turning the fight. The double for Big Koro. Now wants to continue, but Impact does so much damage on the front line. The taunt comes out to save the day, but it is not enough. The shutdown coming through. Double it, looking to clean up. Game one going in the favor of TL. It was rough in the mid game, but they brought it together and will find their first win on the MSI stage. And all Power now stepping forward to tank. Impact gonna throw down his ultimate. A beautiful flash to make it out to safety, but there's just too many members on the top side. TP coming in as well. Saros within an inch of his life. Jensen wants to keep the fight going. Has the Jarvan ultimate. Meliodas now trying to tank, trying to body block. Double Lift is on the way out as well. Saros now getting taken down. A beautiful turn by TL. Impact is still alive. Core JJ here to extend the fight. Sleepy Trouble level not gonna matter because Double Lift is now free, hitting onto Null. The shutdown going through for Jensen. Ultimate coming out from Rek'Sai. Smithy right in the middle of everyone, but Meliodas immediately going to flash. The GPL coming in. Jensen on the backside going to continue forward. Trying to use Meliodas as an escape route. Will not be able to make it out. The knockout coming in just in time. Absolute destruction. Team Liquid cutting through PvP. Impact has a Soda ult of his own. He can jump right in the middle and throw it down onto the team. Double up here to fire to rain hell from the backside, but Jensen is zoning off the two solo laners by himself. Now, no ultimate for the Akali, but Doublelift not afraid to step forward. Impact is here as well, steals Tavares' ultimate. They are going to get absolutely routed. TL are looking for a slaughter. There's going to be another reset. Doublelift can go right over the wall. Whole team's healing up as they push forward. The Shroud comes in as well. Jensen's going to leap forward. They're going to try to take down Null. Doublelift as well. Zeros is ulting, but not on the members he needs to hit. They've gotten gold, and the Cosmic Radiance is everything that they needed. Big Koro knockback. Doublelift continue to clean up. Him and Jensen running through the enemy team. TL dominate PvP on home soil, and they will qualify for the MSI main stage. Nomads continues to push forward here, the final hour, maybe the final shot into the hearts of Flash Wolves in this game. He takes out Shoutzy, he can continue to chase. Hanabi can't even get the barrel off. Nomads with the A move skill, double kill for the mid laner from Vega. Boogie there, has the flash, can jump in, gets onto Santa's, Pop Blossom used as well, but Pop goes Santa, the gadget with the Void, a double kill. Shoutzy is looking for the flank position here, and he's gonna find them. Vega Squadron caught out in their own jungle. Bogey flashes forward with the knock-up, and it's all Betty all the time. It is becoming just a little bit desperate for Vega already. Gadget having to flash away in the bottom lane as the Knight comes out. It's taking Gadget down. He still had the heal there. Santos is going to follow shortly after. Vega Squadron yet to get a fight of their own. Gadget's caught out. Has the flash up in just a second, but the hero's entrance is not in time. Nomads goes Goldman to catch onto Ananasik on that backline. Inhibits Tower Falls to shuffle back. Hanabi on the backline has already taken out Gadget. Nomads the second to fall. The hero's entrance comes out, but you're not really doing too much on this backline because Betty is still alive. He's shredding through all of Vega Squadron. In the end, Boogie falls. Ananasik has to run the wrong way. Flash Wolves are one game away from their 4th consecutive MSI main stage. Soul Shackle's used there. Shoutzy gonna get caught out. Sand United coming in as well. There's the stun lock. Santos looking for the taunt. Can't quite land it onto Betty. Root used with the Chain of Corruption. And the fight onto Gadget as Betty turns it around. Gadget was not in the Spirit Refuge. Santos was unable to protect his AD carry. And this should be 2 easy kills for the Flash Wolves. Trying to catch Gadget and Nomads. He can just 1v3 this. Gadget's done. Hanabi, he's styling on some fools right now. The taunt from Santos will land, but Rather's here for the cleanup crew. It's a double for the Rise. Hanabi is unstoppable.
Well, there you have it. Team Liquid and Flash Wolves are through to the main stage. Pyro, let's start the talk with Team Liquid. How do you think they'll fare against the other teams in the main stage?
It's kind of interesting because everyone kind of likes to joke and meme on North America overall, and Liquid, there's sort of a history there with them in international events and not quite living up to the hype. But I'm weirdly optimistic about this after their last series. I don't know what it is like. I think it's a team that they've had enough struggles to sort of recognize that, they're not going to get sucked into the hype and just expect to do well and then fall short like hardcore. I think they'll make it into the top 4. I'm not 100% sure who they'll have to knock down to do it. But I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of feeling this is the year they can make it happen. I liked a lot of what I saw in that series. I think Impact played really well, even though it was a little bit hectic. And I'm never going to count out like Doublelift and Jensen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were expecting Team Liquid to just like steamroll Fangbu Buffalo in a 3-0 sweep, and it was a sweep, but it wasn't necessarily like a super clean victory along the way.
Early game was a little...
Yeah, exactly. Doublelift kind of described it as a slugfest. So do you think that, this rough result will impact them going into the group stage, or is it just like a sign that these wildcard teams like Fangbu are actually pretty strong and put up a good fight against a team like Team Liquid?
I think it's emblematic of the playstyles in the regions, right? Like, and also of the teams. Like Fangbu Buffalo, similar to Flash Wolves, are a very fast-paced, like action-oriented squad, and Team Liquid are a little bit more methodical. They always have been. Right. Like we see in North America, they take a lot of these wins a little slower as well. So I'm not too surprised that those early games were a little bit tense. But it was good to see that they could, they could make the comeback and they could still close it out 3-0. So that encourages me because even though the early games sometimes looked a little shaky against, what is a wild card region, it's still, in my opinion, probably the strongest one. They still have a chance to make it through because they'll play for the last 6th spot tomorrow against Vega Squadron, and I actually kind of expect them to get through. And if Liquid could 3-0 them, I think they can definitely do a lot of damage in this bracket stage.
Well, the other best 5 saw Flash Wolves take down Vega Squadron. So this Flash Wolves team has undergone some changes in the last year. Do you think they still have that Korean killer kind of upset potential in them?
Well, I don't think they're going to kill the Korean team in this tournament. I'll say that. But Flash Wolves are interesting, and it's one of those issues where they've been a dominant squad for so long. They have made changes, but they've always been atop the LMS, and the LMS itself is a very top-heavy region in League of Legends. So now that they kind of shifted more of the focus over to Hanabi, and they brought Betty in as well, who, you know, I think he's a pretty solid player. He's not quite on Sword Art level, but I think he's pretty good. That the team definitely has a lot of power. But I just wonder how good they are as a region, how good the LMS is, because I've heard a lot of rumblings that it's just not as competitive as it used to be. And if there is a team that could get upset, I think it might be them. You know, they did drop a game to Vegas Squadron. Yes, there was some weird picks, there were some weird things happening there. But because I think Vegas Squadron is probably the weakest out of the remaining teams, I'm actually expecting Flash Wolves, if they're going to get upset by anybody, or if anybody's going to get upset, rather, I think they will be.
Yeah, I mean, the LMS has a lot of talent, especially when you consider guys like Sword Art leaving and Karsa leaving to the LPL and stuff like that. But for a team like Vega, how important is it for, you know, these wildcard teams to actually have an opportunity to face some of these top teams in a best of 5? Because usually it's just group stage and then you're gone. But to actually get a best of 5 must be pretty valuable, right?
Oh, it's huge. Like, you don't get a chance to face off against these large organizations, these big regions that really have just so much more backing, so much more knowledge of the game, as well as different metas coming to bear. So for a team like Vegas Squadron, even though they really contend with some tough teams in CIS there, including the likes of Gambit, that a lot of people actually thought would make it to this tournament instead of them, they are a lot of young players. There are a lot of faces that don't necessarily have that big on-stage experience, so it's even doubly so for them that they want to get that big international experience. So making it this far to even just get into a best of 5, and now they're going to have another one against Fong Fu Buffalo, is massive. So I think regardless, win or lose, if they get knocked out tomorrow, I think they can still be happy with what they gleaned from that.
Well, let's turn our attention to the main stage. G2 had a lot of hype after their dominant finish in the LEC finals, but now there's some concerns because Mickey X's continued wrist injury. So will G2 be okay even if they haven't got a lot of time with their playmaking support?
Yeah, this one's hard to call, to be honest. Like, you know, I haven't really seen the team play with Promiscu, with their substitute. Obviously, it's a different story if they do have Mickey in there, because he's not only like a big brain player, he's also a very strong mechanical player. He's a playmaker. He's part of the team's fabric, and G2 have kind of proved time and again that they do deserve to be atop the LEC. When it comes down to it, it's how much does the loss of a support in-game really change the game? And like support is a hugely impactful role, not from a carrying perspective, but from an ability to kind of direct the field.
Of course.
So I think, you know, Mickey can still talk to the team in between games, but the fact of the matter is they won't have him in-game, and it's really hard to tell how much that's actually going to affect G2. There's definitely going to be a hit. Promiscu is just not on the same level mechanically, for one. I think that may be mitigated a little bit if they can stick to like some more simple champions like Braum, Alistair, that kind of stuff. But I don't know if I'd want to see them, you know, going the whole Sonateric thing, trying for any like crazy strategies, or any like really skill shot intensive sort of support champions. But again, you know, the team's been practicing with him for a while. It's not like Mickey X just broke his hand and it's the eve of the tournament.
Right.
So they've clearly been preparing for this eventuality, and they made the call that they weren't going to be using him. So I think that if anything, they'll have a plan. G2's a very smart organization. They'll be able to work around their weaknesses, but it's definitely not going to be 100% power G2. We're going to see them with, you know, a pinky finger or two behind their back at the very least.
Yeah, well, you were giving Team Liquid a lot of hope there, and I mean, we gotta fuel the NAE rivalry a little bit. So now, if say Mickey X is out of the equation, and you know you have Doublelift and Core JJ, who's a pretty top-tier bot lane, do you think that that's an in for against G2? Because you know, heading into this tournament, if all things were equal, a lot of people were favoring G2 over Team Liquid.
Yeah, I mean, in the bot lane, I'm absolutely going to give it to Liquid, because I mean, you've got Doublelift, who is probably the best Western ADC of all time, and Core JJ, who's more than a serviceable support, and they've been playing together for a long time. You are going to have a substitute support player for G2 in the form of Promiscu, and you've got Perks, who's role swapped. Now, Perks is a great player, but he was a mid laner for a long time before he became an ADC. So in that particular part of the map, I'm going to give that to Team Liquid in a matchup, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to swing things one way or the other, because you also have to look at Caps versus Jensen, which is going to be an insane matchup, and one we have seen played out in a couple of different teams over the years. And it's also going to come down to a lot of other factors too. Like, if I'm G2, I'm playing the losing bot lane. I'm going to be trying to be as safe as possible, maybe look for a scaling option, that kind of thing, and just don't give Liquid an opportunity to snowball the game. You don't need to play super fast, even though Liquid like to take it methodically. I think G2 can still win against them, of course, but it definitely is going to be on how well they can protect their bottom lane and really cover their weak side.
Well, before we let you go, Pyro, we got one more prediction for you. Obviously, Invictus, versus SKT, the big favorites. Who do you think will ultimately win the whole kit and caboodle?
All right, so for this one, Invictus Gaming are world champions, right? Like, they are coming back with the same roster, and they are absolutely terrifying. So it may come as a slight surprise that I think SK Telecom are going to win the whole thing. And here's why. Because SKT have not looked this good in a long time. They finally settled on a roster. They smashed through the playoffs of the LCK. And when they're hot like that, they don't lose internationally. And you've got to be thinking, they watched what happened last year. They watched Invictus get the win, and they want to take the title back for Korea. And step one of that is to grab MSI. SK Telecom are insanely scary composition overall. They always get a grip on the meta once the patch is kind of settled for a little while. They've always been able to do this. Once everything settles, they have the adaptation. I think that, honestly, overall, I don't expect them to drop more than a game or two. Maybe one surprise to Invictus, but when it gets into a best of series, they honestly just don't lose. So I think they'll take the whole thing at the end of the day.
There it is, SKT.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks.
And I don't bet on SKT usually. It's burned me over the years, so I'm finally coming around to that side.
Well, let's see if it happens again. Pyra, thank you so much for joining us to chat everything MSI today. We appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the tournament.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Matt, we still got more to chat about, including a rumor from Reddit. So what's the story here about the CLG?
Well, I love rumors. I always, put way too much emphasis on them and buy into them way more than I should, but that's okay.
Especially celebrity gossip. Can't get enough of that.
Especially the celebrity stuff, that's right. But in terms of CLG, apparently they've been linked with 1907 Fenerbahce's top laner Ruin. This came from a Turkish esports Twitter account that put this news story, and it would make a lot of sense. I mean, Pyra even just said that Ruin was their best player in this tournament. Yeah. And I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a player from the TCL would come over to North America. Broken Blade just did it last year with TSM and had a lot of success in the spring split there. So all of a sudden, CLG is a team that has kind of slid down the North American ladder. They used to be this huge force with a lot of fans, and then they lost a bunch of their star players, and now they're sitting near the bottom. So it makes sense for them to make a move. Darshan has been the guy for them for a long time. Maybe it's time for a new face in that top lane, and would make sense. So it's a possibility, but obviously we probably shouldn't put too much of our stocks into it.
Is there any chance that it's just like actually him submitting these rumors in order to get himself like a better contract somewhere else?
Hey, I haven't followed this esports account before, so who knows? Possibly.
Maybe the original Reddit poster was not Ruin was the username.
Not exactly, classic.
Who knows? Well, it's time to turn our attention to the player of the week. So who have you chosen for us this week, Matt?
Well, I was torn between two guys. Part of me wanted to give it to Impact after his really solid performance in that bracket stage win against Fangbu Buffalo. I mean, he made it a clean sweep. He was one of the reasons why I think they hung around in a couple of those games, because Fangbu Buffalo actually had some really strong early games, but some outplays by Impact kind of helped Team Liquid stay alive, and then they picked up the sweep. But I'm going to give it to someone on Fangbu Buffalo because they had a really solid group stage and actually helped them, get into that bracket stage. I'm going to give it to Meliodas, their jungler, who's named after an anime character from the 7 Deadly Sins, which I think is a really bad anime. For anyone else there who likes it.
Deadly Sins. So he mentions it, but don't watch it, he says.
Right, it's on Netflix, don't watch it. Free advertisement, but don't watch it. Okay. That's right. But I think he was one of the reasons why they actually, got out of that group stage. He had some really solid early games, and he was kind of the fuel to that team. And in the tiebreaker against 1907 Fenerbahce, he was the guy who really got things started, and he had a 9-3-10 game on Gragas, which was obviously came up huge in that clutch moment. So I think he was the guy who kind of stood out to me. Not many people knew him coming out of Vietnam and out of Fangbu Buffalo, but I think he made a name for himself at this tournament.
You helped add to it today by making him the player of the week. Congratulations. Right. But that's all the League of Legends action we got for you today. There is more on the way tomorrow. And speaking of tomorrow, I'll be back here on Esports in 30 with Ron Lee to talk about all that Overwatch League action. Don't miss it. Follow us on the socials, and we'll see you in the future.
Looks like MSI is turning out to be a good one, so we'll have to keep tuning into that. Remember, we're back here starting tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern with gameplay live from the green room. Then again at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have more Unmuted. And in Esports in 30, AJ and Ron are talking OWL Stage 2, Week 5. Till then, you can tune into our socials at Squad State and our YouTube channel for all the VODs in case you missed anything. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.